Coy nurse. Jim began settling into his groove in Hollywood, exploring the city during the day and slinging drinks at night. One particular night at Coy, a waiter approached and asked him if he could make something special for his dear friend Majel, who would be coming over to celebrate her birthday. Those ears of the boy wonder perked right up at that name, one which he only ever heard once in his life. Majel, the wide eyed bartender said, as in Majel Barrett? The waiter's nod of response only grew Jim's eyes wider. You are friends with Nurse Chapel, aka Mrs. Jean Roddenberry? His voice wavered. The waiter laughed. Yep, and if you make a good drink and she likes it, I'll introduce you to her. Ladies and gentlemen, shit just got real. Into the apothecary style books Jim dove, working on creating his cocktail that would beam his ass from the bar to her table for a chance encounter. He would get one shot and one shot only. So into the mad scientist mode he went, preparing and tasting his creations. When the widowed wife of the Star Trek creator entered the establishment, followed closely by her friends, Jim didn't really get a chance to see her. She moved quickly to the back seating area for her party, which would be about 15 people in total. When the word came from the server, Jim prepared his special elixir, a blackberry martini complete with a foamed egg white topping. Then he waited and waited. I remember thinking, okay, I just effed that one up. I stood there reminiscing about the conversation I had with Robert Plant without a care in the world, and here I was with sweaty palms at the thought of meeting a small character on the show. But I suppose a big one in awakening the hero within me. The waiter turned the corner and approached with a smile. She would like another one with a special request, he said, almost toying with Jim, whose hands gestured, of course. She would like you to deliver it to the table, his grin matching Jim's at the statement. Yes, I just pulled a Kevin from Home Alone with an internal holler and a fist pump. Navigating the twists and turns of the jam-packed restaurant with my fancy drink was nerve-wracking enough, all the while making sure my hands holding the black tray were rock steady. If that dollop of egg white slipped off, disaster would ensue. When Jim finally arrived with his offering of friendship, the waiter calmly introduced him to Majel, who immediately complimented him on his drink creation. If you have a few minutes, I would love for you to sit down and join me, the wife of Star Trek said, while pointing to an empty chair beside her. Jim could feel his armpits begin to shower his black dress shirt. It took every ounce of energy to keep his hand from shaking as he placed the cocktail down on the table. He then took his seat beside her and was introduced to others in her party. For the next 15 minutes, there was small talk, Trek talk, and unfortunately slurred talk, as Majel had been at the booze even before she showed up to the restaurant. I remember distinctly when the fun of the conversation that was feeding little Jimmy turned solemn. I began to feel sad as it became obvious that this was a woman lost in the present moment and slated to always live in the past. She was holding court to all she had left. Her husband and most of her co-stars were gone, and all that remained was a tired woman whose destiny seemed reached long ago. She would soon join much of her cast among the stars just 2 years later. Jim and Majel concluded their time together with a big hug. As he walked away back to the reality of life, Jim couldn't help but wonder what destiny truly laid out there in this land of make-believe. He knew the brass ring was here. He had to find it, or at least be in a position for it to be bestowed upon him. He began to wonder if it lay hidden in the serendipitous brushstrokes that the universe was wielding.